Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, Reinventing Me at 60. This is the second installment of my 12-month reinvention journey, and this month has been deeply personal for me. It was all about saying goodbye to my old identity. If you're new here, each month I explore a different theme to help me reinvent myself after retirement. Month 1 was all about pausing and noticing. Now in month 2, I began the real work of letting go of who I used to be. This episode is reflective, honest, and vulnerable. So grab your coffee and let's dive in. One of the things I learned this month, and it bears to be repeated, is that you can't move forward in change without knowing where you've come from. It's like trying to write a new chapter of your life without understanding the plot that led you here. You have to turn around, look clearly at who you've been, and name it. Not to cling to it, but to honor it. The past doesn't have to define you, but it does absolutely inform you. Honoring your history gives you the foundation to step into what comes next. I'm going to go through my month by breaking it down into weeks. Each week had a different focus and a different task associated with that. So week 1 was all about awareness. And wow, was that an eye-opening week. It was probably my toughest week. I sat down with a blank notebook and I started listing all the roles that I've played over the 40 plus years. Roles like employee, coworker, wife, mother, provider, planner, fixer, caregiver, dreamer, advocate, survivor, and even just the one who holds it all together. Then beside each role, I identified the traits of those roles. Then with each role, I identified the expectations of the role. This is where the Band-Aid got ripped off. Identifying things like always being busy, don't make mistakes, be strong, keep everyone comfortable and happy, never ask for help, show up, stable, creator of peace. I didn't realize how tightly I held on to those roles until I wrote them down. I asked myself, what part of me am I most afraid of letting go of? And honestly, it was the feeling of being needed. When your identity is tied to usefulness, retirement can feel like a loss of value. So reflections on this week was, actually I cried a little bit. I laughed a little bit too at how many hats I had worn without even questioning it, or even recognizing them. Writing them down was so freeing. It helped me to see not just the weight of the roles, but also parts that I truly love. I'm allowed to keep parts that serve me and lovingly release the rest. Looking back at all of those roles has helped me understand something very powerful. We can't become who we're meant to be until we fully understand and acknowledge who we were. Grief doesn't only come after death. Letting go of an identity can feel like mourning too, and that grief deserves space. In week 2, I wrote a goodbye letter to my old self, and I said thank you, and I forgave her. And I told her she didn't have to carry it all anymore. I was going to burn the letter, but I decided against it because I might share that letter with you in the future. I'm not sure. Let me know if that's something that you would like me to share. I've never written a letter to myself, and wow, was it cathartic. I felt lighter and happier. It was a great experience. I then went and I packed up all my work stuff, my work planner, my ID badge, old business cards, and I put it all away. I included my retirement cards and little mementos from my work life. All those little tokens that once held so much power. It wasn't about erasing the past, it was about redefining how I relate to them now. What surprised me about doing this? I didn't expect to feel sad, and I did. But I also felt relief. Underneath the grief, there was this tiny bud of freedom. The sense that maybe I didn't have to prove anything to anyone. Maybe just being was enough. Again, if you're on this journey with me, write a letter to yourself, burn it, shred it, or keep it and look at it later. Pack away your work stuff, your old work clothes, your work planners and name badges and business cards, all those items that held too much power for you. It's not about erasing the past, it's about redefining how we relate to them. Now that I'd cleared space, I asked, who am I underneath all that? So I went back to my childhood. I remembered how much I loved writing and storytelling and painting and drawing and riding bikes and laying in the grass and staring at the clouds. I remembered being curious and creative and sensitive. So I made a list of all my qualities, and then I picked 3 that I wanted to reconnect with. I picked wander, create, and play. So I gave myself permission to wander through a bookstore without an agenda. I doodled with markers like I used to in school, and I walked without headphones. I made something imperfect just for me, and I made plans for a solo summer trip just for me. This week felt like discovery. It was soft and slow. It didn't feel so heavy. I enjoyed the stillness. I walked without a goal. I enjoyed sitting in a park bench just watching the world go by. I started making travel plans that only suited me because it was just going to be me. I began to feel like I was coming home to a part of myself I had forgotten about, but who hadn't really left. So, if you're on this with me, ask yourself, what made you feel most alive as a child? And start doing those things again. Start small, and it might feel silly, and it might feel sacred. Okay, for my final week of the month, I began to write my new story. I chose 3 words that I wanted to guide me. I chose curious, brave, and unapologetic. These aren't goals. They're ways of being. They're reminders of how I want to move forward through the next chapter of my life. Once I sat down with my 3 words for a few days, I wrote a personal manifesto. Okay, this journaling thing was getting a little easy for me, and I'd written a really long manifesto. But for the purpose of this video, I condensed it into 3 sentences. And they are, I am no longer the one who lives to meet expectations. I am becoming the woman who explores, expresses, and evolves. I am stronger and braver than I know. Then I made a vision board as a screensaver on my cell phone. I didn't just want to include achievements, I also wanted to have things about feeling. I included images of walking in nature, laughing with friends, painting, taking up space, exploring, things like that. If you're doing this with me, don't rush the vision. Let it emerge. Sit with it for a while. Give yourself to imagine new possibilities. You don't need to know the destination. You just need to trust the direction. If you're curious about making your own vision board on your cell phone, I used Canva. I found a template that worked for me and it was very easy. So that's what I did. So what did I let go of this month? I let go of the belief that my worth comes from productivity, the need to be everything to everyone, the constant doing, and that I'm saying yes to is space, self-compassion, and becoming. This has been one of the most powerful months of my life. I don't feel like a different person, but I feel more like myself, more aware. And that's worth everything. Next month, we move into rediscovering my values. Now that I've let go of who I was, I get to ask what really matters to me now. We'll talk about clarity, values, core values, and making choices that align with this chapter of life that I'm in. It's not about being right or wrong, it's about resonance, about learning to trust your inner compass. And I'm taking this reminder with me into month 3. You can't move forward and change without knowing where you've come from. Looking back has given me the strength to walk forward with intention. Thanks for being here on this journey with me. Please share in the comments, what identity are you letting go of? What are you rediscovering underneath it all? And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. It really does help me out. Until next time, keep becoming.